Hello, I am Debbie McKeever, founder and owner of Strong and Healthy Temple, a virtual holistic health and wellness coaching practice where we focus on helping clients achieve transformation by shifting the mindset. It's another lovely fall day out today. The birds are chirping, the acorns unfortunately are falling. But anyway, wanted to talk today about something that I was thinking about earlier this morning at the gym, and it's the subject of who you really are. Like, who are you? Who am I? And when I say that, I'm not talking about like your titles or your fancy degrees or your social standing or any of those things. I'm talking about like who you are in regards to your higher self, your soul, your internal self. And I think a lot of times when we think about, who we are, sometimes we don't really know who we are, so we define ourselves by our money and the number of letters behind our name and our fancy cars and our big houses and designer bags and shoes and, all these different things. But, who are you really? Do you know who you really are? And I look at social media platforms like LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram where people fight over, having, the most followers. And, once they, reach a certain clip level of followers, they consider that, not everybody, but, a lot of people, kind of get big-headed and, consider themselves influencers and things like that. And, some of them kind of like look down on other people who have like a smaller amount of following. And, we all have our sphere of influence. So, I really kind of hate that influencer terminology that was created on social media. Like who gave social media the right, to define, what an influencer really is. Like I said, we all have our sphere of influence. So, but I think a lot of times we define ourselves by those things because we don't really know, who we are. And basically, in a nutshell, who we are is an expression of the source of all creation. And whether you call that source God, source, spirit, Buddha, Allah, whatever you call it, we're all an expression of that infinite intelligence who created the entire universe and all of the galaxies. And, if you're, since most people in this country practice the Christian faith, when you look in Genesis, it says that, we were created in the image of the Creator. And it also says in there that, the Creator is spirit, and I know that a lot of us think that God, or whatever you call it, is, some man in the sky, but God is spirit. And, we are spirit and we occupy a body. And so we're an expression, of the source of all. So that's who we really are. Like, nobody is better than anybody just because you have more money or a bigger house or more degrees, fancier titles or, whatever it is, better material things. Or if you have more followers on social media, nobody's any better than anybody because we're all an extension and an expression of the source of all creation. And, for sake of vernacular, I'll just refer to it as God. And I know we assign a gender to God, and we've gotten in the habit of saying he, but God really is spirit. And so a lot of times you'll hear me say, infinite intelligence, and that's why a lot of people say source or spirit or things like that, or they might say it instead of he, because it's really not, a person. It is a consciousness. It's a source. And so, I think about the terminology I am, and when you look at the Bible story in Exodus, when Moses asked the Creator, who should I say sent me, the Creator didn't start spouting off a bunch of titles or attributes or any of those things, or start bragging on the fact that it created, everything that exists. It simply said to Moses, tell them I am that I am. He said, tell them I am sent you. The Creator could have said a gazillion things, about itself, but instead of bragging or trying to define itself by titles and attributes and, different characteristics or things that it had done, it just said, tell them that I am. And that's who you are. You are who I heard a metaphysical teacher say probably about 5 years ago. You are whoever you say you are, irregardless of facts, and that's the truth. I know we've all heard that expression, that whatever you put behind I am, that's who or what you become. So if you say negative things about yourself, like being broke, sick, stupid, or whatever, that's what you become. But if you say positive things about yourself, like being beautiful, successful, smart, intelligent, and all those things, that's who you become. And so that's why the Creator told Moses, tell him that I am sent you. And in the Hebrew, that word Ahaya means self-existing one, means always was and always will be. And technically that's who we are. And I know we're born and we die, but technically that's the earthly house, the earthly body. The real you, the soul that's connected to spirit, that's connected to the Creator of all. And I know you probably see yourself, if you believe that God is just some man in the sky, then you probably see yourself as separate from God, but actually you're one with the Creator, that real you, that inner you, your soul that exits the body once the body dies off. And so that's why he just told Moses to say, that I am, because you truly are whoever you say you are. And that same medical physical teacher, he used as an example the story of Isaac, Jacob, and Esau. And that story is in Genesis. And Isaac had gotten old and blind, and so when he was about to bestow the blessing onto Esau, who was the eldest, and it was tradition that the blessing belonged to the eldest, well, Jacob's mother, dressed him up in Esau's clothes, and then I think she had put like lambskin or something on his hands, because Esau was real hairy and Jacob had smooth skin. And so when Isaac said, are you my son Esau, Jacob simply said, I am. And so I know you might call it trickery or treachery, or he didn't really deserve it or whatever, but he was who he said he was. And so he wanted that blessing, and so he claimed it by using the most powerful statement in the universe, I am. And so then Isaac asked him to, he said, I want to feel you. And so basically what that's doing is, what he was saying is, in a sense, in a esoterical sense, is I want to see if you're the one who feels like you deserve the blessing. That's what that literally translates into. Although literally he was feeling his skin to make sure he was hairy, and because his mother had, put that like lambskin or whatever on him, he felt like Esau, because Isaac knew that the voice sounded different. So he claimed the blessing by claiming that I am, and by also by the feeling. So not only do you have to claim that you are, you can't just go through the motions, you also have to feel like you are. So you can't just make affirmations, I am blah 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 blah, and just go through the motions and think that's who you're going to become. You have to really feel like that's who you really are. So if you're saying something like I am rich, you have to feel like you're rich. You have to feel like you're the one who deserves that blessing. And that's part of knowing who you are, is feeling like you are, and not feeling like you have to define yourself by titles or degrees, or how many followers you have on social media, or how much money you have, you know, none of that makes any difference if you don't really feel like that. Like, you can have all those things and still feel like a miserable person, and literally still live a miserable life. You know, there are rich people, you know, who have committed suicide because they sunk in a deep level of depression, because real success in actuality is fulfillment. And if you don't feel happy and fulfilled, then you're not really successful. It doesn't matter how many letters you have behind your name, or how big your house is, or any of those things. So knowing who you are is knowing that you are an expression of the source of all. And that's what's really important. So not just knowing your name, or, you know, knowing what your title is, but knowing that you are, in fact, God expressed as yourself. So anyway, that is a wrap. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did like the video, please give it a thumbs up. I would love for you to subscribe to the videos. Hit the bell icon to receive notifications of when I release new videos. There's an acorn that just flew by me. But anyway, thank you for watching, and make it a fantastic day.